Hi there, it's Suzanne Hart, and I trust you are well. Today's habit is courage, or this week's habit is courage. Before I get started, I want to make a distinction between being brave and having courage. To be brave is to appear fearless. So something is in front of you, you have something to do, and you move into it without fear. And to many people, you may appear brave because it might scare them. So you are seen as fearless. To have courage, however, is to move into something, take an action, do something in the face of fear. In other words, you are afraid, but you do it anyway. Why is this habit so important? It is important because for many of us who are self-employed, for anyone who's an entrepreneur, anyone who's up to big things, oftentimes there's something standing between you and your success that scares you, something that has you feel uncomfortable, something that brings up fear. And now you have to call upon your courage and keep moving in the face of your fear. Now, one of the things about having courage that it does is it allows you to also distinguish between the fear that's real and the fear that's imagined, right? And you know, we have a protective mechanism in our brain that allows us to kind of see things and go, oh, that is scary, that might be dangerous, you should be afraid, and we're stopped. Now, there are moments when there is real impending danger and fear is very real. But a lot of times there's not real impending danger, but there's a fear in your imagination. And the fear in your imagination is because you're about to step beyond what's comfortable. You're about to step beyond what's known. To have courage allows you to test out whether the fear is real or not. So I'll tell you one thing, at my retreat, the Freedom Retreat, we took some people ziplining. Now, every time I suggest we're going ziplining, there's always one or two people who say, I'm not doing that. There's no way I'm gonna do that. That is too scary. There's no reason for me to do that. And oftentimes it's the same people who wanna take more risk in their business. So I usually ask them to sleep on it, and invariably they kind of begrudgingly go, and they go ziplining. Now, if you've been ziplining, you're harnessed in, you've got your gloves, you've got all your gear, and is there risk? Absolutely, there's a little bit of risk, but is there a lot of risk? Are you really going to fall and go plummeting to the earth? Unlikely, because it is designed to keep you safe. Now, what's interesting is when everybody starts down the zip line, everybody's nervous. There's people who are extremely anxious, and they are stepping into their fear. They're calling upon their courage and stepping into their fear, and they zip line, and they zip line again, and they zip line again. Somewhere in the middle of that, for most people, their fear dissipates, and they realize they're actually quite safe, and they begin to enjoy it. And at the end, they're often high-fiving, celebrating, and some people be, let's do that again, I can't wait. Now, this is the thing that happens. Somewhere in the middle of their zip line, because they had courage to test out their fear, they realized that the risk wasn't as big as they thought, and a lot of the fear was in their imagination. Now, this is what I want you to get. Whenever you are faced with something that you don't want to do, and you are afraid, the more you delay it, the bigger your fear grows, and your imagination takes hold, and it starts to expand this thing called fear, because your imagination gets overactive, and you're now building up this story around what could possibly happen. The minute you step into the thing that fears you and you begin to take action, what will happen is you'll have a moment of heightened fear, and then your fear will start to get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller as you test whether you should be as fearful as you were when you started. This is how we keep moving. This is how we move beyond our comfort zone. This is how we expand our comfort zone. Because the minute you test your fear, your comfort zone expands. And the minute you test something else, your comfort zone expands. And that's how we grow as a person. So I trust this supports and helps you this week. Today's habit was courage. My name is Suzanne Hart, and I'll see you next week. Take care.